right, let's get started with weaving. So your weaving kit in your Ziploc, you should have a cardboard loom. You should have a white piece of string, a black piece of string, a plastic fork, a tapestry needle, a little piece of note card, and 5 rubber bands. So right now we need to prepare our loom. So we do not need the fork, we do not need the needle, we do not need the yarn, and we do not need this yet. So we're going to set those off to the side. Right now we only need our cardboard and our rubber band. So we want our cardboard loom to go up and down. Here should be a rectangle. And then we should have our 5 rubber bands. So these are going to be the part that creates the wristband. So we're going to take our first rubber band and we are going to put it in the center, and we want to make sure that it is not twisted. So you might have to, a technique that I use is to kind of open it up with my hand like this and then slide it onto there. Lift it and set it down, lift it here. If there's any twists in it, that's going to cause you problems later. So check both sides to make sure there's no twist. So that was going to go right in the center. The next rubber band, we're going to go just to the left or just to the right of center. And we don't want them to touch, and we don't want them to be too far apart. That's probably a little too far apart. So I pinch and slide it over, pinch and slide it over. So next to, but not touching. Third rubber band, I put mine on the right of the center. So the third rubber band needs to go to the left of center. You do want them to be spaced out evenly. So not touching. Again, check the other side, make sure there's no twists in there. The last 2, one's going to go on this side, one's going to go on this side, so that we have our 5 that are balanced. It's a good idea to write your name on the loom. So after you put your rubber bands in, probably along this edge, turn it this way, using a pencil, please, to write your name on there so that if it comes out and gets lost, then you know that one is yours. And that's how we prepare our loom. Now we are ready to start weaving. So before we weave, we need to learn how to thread our needle. And even though this is a fairly large needle, it can sometimes be tricky to get it threaded through the eye of the needle. So we have a handy dandy little tool here. All it is a piece of note card. So the first thing we're going to do with our note card is, it should be like a rectangle. We're going to fold it in half long ways so that it ends up looking like a little hot dog bun. So we have a little hot dog bun. And the yarn, you can choose to start with the white or the black. Later on, you will be able to have more colors. But for right now, it was easiest just to give everybody 2 pieces. So what we'll do is we are going to say that your yarn is the hot dog, and then you've got this, which is your hot dog bun. So we put the hot dog in the hot dog bun, and then we pinch it closed. All right, so that is inside the hot dog bun. Then we'll take our needle and push see how there's a V? The V of your hot dog goes through the eye of the needle. Carefully, and then it's threaded through, and then it won't snag. We do not want to tie our yarn to the needle. It will be very difficult to undo, okay? And then it gets stuck on there. So if we have it too close to the end, then we run the risk of it sliding out. So I usually like to have a little bit of a tail on there, okay? And then when you need the end of it, you can. So now that our needle is threaded, Now, when it comes to starting to weave, with this type of weaving, it does not really matter. Don't forget to leave this handy in case you need it again. You will need it again, so don't lose that. It doesn't really matter if you choose to start weaving from the top left, the top right, the bottom left, or the bottom right. Either way, eventually we are going to be weaving all the way on the front and flipping it and weaving all the way around the whole thing. That's how we get the wristband. So it's just a personal preference where you want to start. Okay, so the little video that was shown about those common mistakes, we want to make sure that we are not going to make those mistakes, so we'll go over them. So what we want is we want to have our needle, and we want to start with an under. So we're going to lift the rubber band and go under. It goes over the next one. It goes under the next one, over. So under, over, under, over, under. When you put your needle through and you kind of lift, you can see that there are 3 rubber bands that are up and 2 rubber bands that are down. Then you're going to pull. Now, as you are pulling through, sometimes the rubber bands twist. You can always straighten them out later. When I do this, if I keep pulling, I want to make sure I pull it all the way through. Now, once this string comes out, if I keep pulling on the needle, I might undo it. So, once I get through, I want to stop pulling the needle. I want to pull the yarn. Pull, 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 all the way to the end. Don't pull it all the way through. Be careful. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Flatten any that have twisted. And we want to make sure we have about a 1-inch tail. Okay, and that can stay there. You're not going to cut it off. You're going to leave it hanging off. We're going to need it later. So that was pulling through the first time. Now, with this type of weaving, we go this way and that way, this way and that way. So now I'm ready to go back this way. So I ended with my yarn going under. So this time, as I go this way, if I go under again, under, over, and I pull this through, what's going to happen? It's going to pull the whole yarn out. I have to reverse the order. So this one's an under. That means this one needs to be an over. Over, lift, over, lift. This time, every time my needle is pointing this way and I lift it, I have 2 rubber bands up and 3 rubber bands down. Pull, 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 pull. Now be careful once you get here. Remember, we don't want any wingy-dingies, but we also don't want to pull it so tight. Watch what happens. Do you see how I'm pulling this rubber band? Oh, that's going to start to get too tight. That was too tight, so I need to kind of loosen that up a little bit. So I want there to be a loop that's loose enough that I can touch it, but not that it is going to be wingy-dingies. So now I do the opposite when I'm ready to go back this way. This is an over, so now I need to go under. Every time my needle is pointing this way, I have 3 rubber bands up. Every time my needle is pointing that way, I have 2 rubber bands up. Pull, 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 pull. Slow it up, push it up, make sure it's loose, and then you just keep going. 2 up, Now it looks like I'm pretty far. Look how much space I have used. Okay, well, I'm not as far along as it looks because I can see the rubber bands through here. Remember how I said I want you to weave loosely this way so that it doesn't make the rubber bands squeeze together. So loose this way, but we want our weaving to be tight this way. That's where our fork comes in. So you may have seen on those videos of people weaving that they used a special tool to make the yarn scrunch together so it's tighter. Now, if you take your fork and you just slide it under like this, that's not doing anything. We just want to use the fork. We can put it upside down. Be gentle because this is plastic and it will snap if you're too rough with it. So you can do it a couple different ways. You can scrunch your yarn down. You can also scrunch your yarn up. Now that's nice and tight. You can see the weave is tight and I can no longer see my rubber bands. So I didn't weave quite as far as I thought I had, but I still have quite a bit of string left, so I just keep weaving.